I ultimately think that changing our understanding of pain is the greatest thing that we have. It's better than any new discovery in terms of drugs and things like that. So I think actually if all of us have a new understanding of what pain is, I think that would completely revolutionise the way we see pain and treat pain. My name is Monty Lyman. I'm a medical doctor and a clinical researcher based at the University of Oxford, and I'm really interested in the mind and the body and how they interact. One of the greatest and most complex ways in which these interact is pain. We all know what pain is when we feel it, but defining pain is quite tricky to do. My simple explanation for pain is that it's a horrible feeling that urges us to protect a body part. And I think the fact that it urges us to do something and the fact that it wants to protect us is incredibly important for understanding what pain is and what it isn't. One of the reasons why we have such a pandemic of chronic, otherwise known as long-term or persistent pain, is that most of us, and by most of us I mean doctors as well as the general public, misunderstand what pain is. So the pain revolution is, in one sense, very simple. It's understanding that pain is a protector, not simply a detector of tissue damage. And once that change is made in understanding, it can really help people understand their pain, live with their pain, and there's evidence it can even reduce pain. Until the last few decades, perhaps, pain was assumed to be a signal that travels from an injured area in the body to the brain. Descartes described it as someone pulling a rope, and at the other end a bell goes off. And in terms of short-term pain, this just sort of seems to make logical sense. You slam your finger under your laptop, it hurts. You slam it in a car door, it hurts even more. But actually, over the last 50 or so years, and especially in the last couple of decades, we're realising actually that the danger signals coming up from the body are only one part of what pain is. And you can have those danger signals coming up, but with no pain at all. So if you think about the soldier on the battlefield who's shot but doesn't feel any pain. So actually, I think the big paradigm shift is understanding that pain is made in the brain. It's very understandable for people to think that I'm saying, it's all in your head, you're imagining it. That couldn't be further from the truth. Pain is completely real. And this is really important because a lot of people are living with long-term pain, say conditions like fibromyalgia, where there's no clear evidence in the body of tissue damage, but they're in real horrible pain. But pain is in your brain. It's essentially, long-term pain can be a neurological disease. It's as real as something like epilepsy. And we can't just say, no brain, I don't want you to cause any pain. It's your brain desperately trying to protect you, but often it can be very overprotective. We can have times where you can have no pain, even though you have danger signals coming up from your body. Those danger signals we call nociceptors. And we can have the opposite, where you can feel pain even when there's no danger signals. So in the case of the soldier who's been shot and doesn't feel any pain, the brain decides to shut down the danger signal with opioids. And it does that because the most important thing is survival. And the most important thing in survival in a battlefield is to get yourself out of that area of danger. It's not to protect that body part. That's quite a rare thing that happens, but the most important thing to the brain is survival. So I think if you understand that, then it makes more sense. There are a number of new treatments for pain, or treatments that we didn't think would work for long-term pain, that are shown to be quite effective. And these are treatments that can change the way that we look at pain. Some of these can be psychological treatments, some of these can be hypnotherapy, some of these involve virtual reality and immersing yourself in something that's distractive, but also something that changes the way that your brain relates to your body. But ultimately, it's any treatment that increases a sense of safety in your body. It makes your brain feel safe in its body, is a treatment that's likely going to be useful for chronic pain. All of us, to some extent, can catch pain from other people. Whenever you see someone getting an injury in a movie or a sports injury or something like that, we all sort of flinch. And that's actually because we have a mirror system in our brain that activates whenever we see other people getting hurt. What's the point of that? Well, actually, pain is a teacher that tells us not to go near the thing that damages us. For example, not to go near a fire and touch a fire. But if we see someone putting their hand in a fire or touching a fire, and we see them experiencing pain, it's not just enough to know that they're in pain. We need to feel it a bit ourselves to make sure that we don't go near that fire. So in that sense, our brain does catch pain from other people. You'd imagine that a life without pain would be absolute bliss. But actually, a life without pain is lived by a number of people. There are people who genetically don't feel any pain whatsoever, something called congenital insensitivity to pain. And most of them don't live past their teenage years. Imagine if you fall over and break your leg but can't tell that you've broken it, or that your appendix bursts and you have no way of detecting that. Pain is a protective mechanism that even though pain is horrible, pain is like a guardian angel. It's like a doctor, a teacher. It is trying to warn us, protect us and heal us. And a life without pain is often a very short one.